Hey, guys, before I got going, I just want to make sure that, we wanted to pay tribute to Coach Coryell. What a special weekend for him and his family and the Chargers. And to see the last couple days, the imprint that he left on the National Football League, I think it's been great to tell that story to our team, for them to understand the history of this club and how much Coach Coryell really meant to not only the Chargers but to the National Football League. And when you think about coaches like John Madden, when you think of coaches like Joe Gibbs, and not to mention all the Hall of Fame players that he affected, truly a legacy that still lives today in the passing game. And when I was looking at some of the speeches for the Hall of Fame, to think that they led the NFL in passing 6 straight years, and 7 years overall, and led the NFL in scoring. I think it was 3 times, and in yards 5 times. This guy was just a true innovator. So just want to pay our deepest respect and admiration, and just so proud to be a part of this football team. And with that, I'll take some questions.
What happened with Sebastian today, and do you anticipate that he will be ready to play week 1?
Yeah, nothing to add there. Just he just has a quad contusion.
Justin, we haven't seen him kick.
Yeah, he's just working his way back into practice, and so he's been doing a lot of work on the side, and no further updates than that.
He's dealing with something physically, though? Justin is?
Yes.
Where you guys are at in camp with Tito and Austin still not available, is there a level of concern with your defensive line and what's going on there?
No, I think we've really been able to develop the depth in that room, and you've seen, I think, that on display here today and then throughout camp. And so we've got a lot of young guys that are competing for spots, and those guys are working their way back. And Sebastian is off to a really good start to camp. So we like where that group is right now. It's got a lot of room to improve. And Lindsay, I think the preseason games are going to tell us a lot about where that group's at in terms of stacking it for the regular season.
JC has missed a couple practices here in a row. I know recovery from the obviously a very significant injury, but any concern about him sitting out?
No, it's just part of the process. Going through a tough injury, and there's going to be a tough way back. So we're just phasing him back in with recommendation from the medical staff, and he's going to have some good days. He's going to have some tough days, and that's part of coming back from an injury like that. But he's got to build his strength up, and that's going to happen over the course of all training camp. Yeah, I thought, Lindsay, it felt a lot like camp out there. It looked like a lot like camp out there, just the healthy competition. And, there was, again, we got all the situations covered, and, there's a lot of good players on the field. That's what I see. I see the execution in both phases. And, this is a group that, now we get to go get ready to play a game against somebody else now. So we've got to, transition our training camp now, our phase, to get kind of ready for a game week. And so I like the way this group is working. They've been very professional, and I like the team chemistry and the spirit that we're taking the practice field with, and I think we're improving every time out there. So that's what's important to us.
You guys are down a bunch of tackles today with Rashawn out, Zach, and Trey was sort of working in and out with Austin Pleasance going in there. Just how does that sort of change the evaluation of a scrimmage when you're down some tackles and some young guys are going in there?
Yeah, I think you're seeing it on both sides of the ball. We've got 3 key defensive linemen out. You've got 3 key offensive linemen out. So that's where your depth has to emerge, and you get a chance to evaluate other people. So that's what scrimmages like this are for. And this is a good evaluation for us. And now we got to get moving to the next thing.
You're missing 4 players due to illness. Is there any cause for concern over that?
No, just normal sickness going through a football team.
What have you thought about Thule so far through camp?
Daniel, as advertised, I think he's a professional. I think physically he's ready to play in the National Football League. He's tough. He's a tone setter out there in the run game, and I think he's got the quickness and the strong hands, instinctive. He's a sponge out there, so he learns the game really fast, and so he's going to have a role for us. And the preseason, Daniel, is going to be a great opportunity for him to measure himself, because he's going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to learn a lot, but he's the right guy to be coaching. You've heard us say that. He's the right guy to be coaching, and we felt him out here against our best guys, and but there's a lot of work to do with him.
Chris Rumph is going into his 3rd year. Is he at the point now where you guys had hoped all the way from when he was drafted?
Yeah, he's improved every year, Fernando. I think last year he emerged as a really key contributor with special teams, being a 4-core player, and then kind of our 4th rusher. I thought he did a lot of good things at times. He kind of got sidetracked by that sprained knee midway, but he's made a lot of improvements. He's been very aggressive out there throughout 10 practices and has made a lot of plays and continued his role on special teams. So we feel really solid about his improvement, and he's got great makeup and physically, that's where he had the most room to improve when he was, from a rookie to now, and he's made a lot of progress in that area.
What have you seen from the two backs behind Austin, Josh and Isaiah so far through camp?
Yeah, I thought they did some good things out there today too. Josh and Isaiah have both run the ball well. From a pass protection standpoint, I think both of those guys are trustworthy. And, again, when it's live tackle to the ground, we're going to know more about where that competition is. But I think Isaiah's made very big improvements. I think it's been noticeable physically, running style, and I think he's made a lot more plays. And he's always been a very reliable pass protector and pass catcher. But, again, preseason will be big for both of those guys and kind of determining where that stack is.
Where do you see Justin grow in terms of progression of seeing a defense and reading what's going on from this?
Yeah, Lindsay, it's been, I think, as big a part of his improvement as anything. And, his experiences now, he's seen a lot, against us in practice. We try to disguise and play as much stuff as anybody in the NFL, but, he has a way of undressing that now. He understands how to do it and how important that is. And when you can do that, how you can really control the game. Because, there's not a throw or a play that he can't make on that field, but it's a lot easier to make those plays when you can completely understand and know and command and control what's happening on the other side. And that's what's been, for our veteran players on defense, that's what's been tough on us, is that he's been able to really, force our hand in a lot of ways. And that just shows you where he's at from a progression standpoint. And then he's still playing with the timing and the accuracy and the playmaking. Saw him in 2 minute, make a big play off a loose play. And so you still have all that playmaking, but now before the snap, just, with him and Corey working in tandem, we feel really good about those two working together.
Big catch to set up the Cameron Dicker kick.
Yeah.
What did you think, or how do you feel like he's progressed during camp?
Yeah, he's improving. We're going to learn a lot more about him when it goes live here in preseason. But it's a big camp for Trey, and he's got to prove himself. And I think he's improving, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Mark Webb, nice interception today. What have you thought of his camp so
Yeah,
far?
Mark's been a consistent playmaker for us. I think, as you guys know, he's flashed in his 2 years, but some injuries have kind of sidetracked his progress. But he's been really focused from the springtime to now, and so what we've seen is more consistency in his assignments. He's always had ability, and we think he's the right guy to be coaching. And then from a special team standpoint, he's made a big jump with Ryan and Chris. So we think he's going to be a factor. But Joe, in these games, we're going these safeties, you always learn the most when they have to tackle to the ground, and so the passing game has never been one of Mark's issues, so we just you find out about young safeties when they have to tackle. So, we'll find out next week.
So basically, special teams and tackling is going to be the
but he's athletic, he's versatile. As you guys know, playing at Georgia, those guys are good friends of mine. He's well trained. This is his third year in the system, so we would expect a big jump from him this year.
maybe tweaking some stuff in training camp. As far as the preseason games, will you treat those the same as you have?
I think similarly, like we haven't mapped it out all yet, because we're going to kind of go through next week, but I think it'll be a similar approach through training camp, that we've had for the preseason games.
Might be too general a question, Brandon, but a week and a half into camp, are you where you thought you would be overall with this team and progress and stuff?
Yeah, we're where we expect to be, which is that we want that practice field to be alive. We want there to be the consistency of the playmaking and the competition, overall execution, and I think we're developing the depth in special teams, which is so important to your club. And again, we've been able to get a lot of good evaluation out there. With some of these linemen being out on both sides, we've been able to really evaluate them against good people. And so preseason is about finding out who that best 53 is. So. But I like the way this team's coming together. This team cares about each other. You can see it. We're competing the right ways. There's a lot of special players out there. And then, I just think both sides of the ball are making each other better, and that's what I expect.